Welcome to the ABQ Accent, where catalysts, innovators, and risk takers share what their accent is on their work. Like a spoken accent, we all have an inflection or emphasis on where we put our energy. Join us to learn how these folks are putting their accents to work, building their vision of the future, and how you can get involved. Thank you, everyone, for joining me for another episode of the ABQ Accent. Today, I am very pleased to have a dear friend of mine on, Miss Melani Buchanan. Farmer, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, you look great, by the way.
Thanks.
Yeah. So, we get the chance today to talk so much about let's see, if it's okay to say, I'm so proud of you and the work that you do, and I get this wonderful chance to chat with you about it and then really amplify some of that work that maybe some people don't already know about or don't really know exactly how to look for ways to partner with you, of which there are many. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm going to give a little background, and I'll give you the opportunity to fill in the gaps and talk to me a little more about your background.
Great.
Okay. So let's be real clear. Dr. Melani Buchanan Farmer has a number of roles that she currently holds. This is not a list of a timeline. I'm talking about the current roles happening today. She's the founder and director of Running 505, which is a local nonprofit. She's the professional development consultant at her own consulting agency, the Aspen Education Collective. She's the founder and owner of Bfit 505 Bootcamp CrossFit, where she practices her being a wellness coach and her community engagement. She's also on my city board, the Volunteers Advisory Board. Very happy to have you there. And you're also a council member of the New Mexico Children's Trust Fund. So we're going to talk about when you sleep or when you don't sleep.
I sleep great every night.
Good. That's because you do such good work all day. And last couple of tidbits here is that you've held educational leadership roles at Highlands, APS, and UNM. And your PhD comes from the California Institute of Integral Studies, the Transformative Studies program, where you focused in systems change and youth wellness in schools, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I feel like they built that program for you when I hear the sound of it.
It was so great. Yeah, it's a great program.
You have a level 3 teaching license, correct?
An administrator.
Yeah, in administration, right? You've participated in the Emerge program here in New Mexico. Love that. And just maybe it goes without saying that you have numerous areas of expertise that we're going to explore.
Yeah, I have different hats, and I love all of them.
You love all of them. So last bit I want to highlight, because before we get into our conversation that gets a little deep and a little more fun, is that in your words, you're a motivational leader and collaborator with progressive experience in education, community engagement, educational and system leadership, management, policy, and operations. I love that you have a perspective that you approach your work with, and that is that you really are visionary, goal-oriented, and that you're a big picture multitasker, which might be an understatement, who thrives in making connections in fast-paced and various engaging environments with a collaborative, equity, and holistic-driven mindset. She is a community advocate and a dedicated educator.
That's it.
Is that right?
Sounds good.
Captured. Thank you for assisting me in putting that together, because what I have known about you over the last several years might just not have been enough, and I like learning about you.
I'm excited to talk about it, especially the collaboration part, right?
Right. There's areas of opportunity there, but let's go back a little bit further. There have been moments of inspiration in your life that brought you to those particular educational goals and these particular leadership spaces. So tell me a little bit more about how you got here.
I think that education has always been in my blood and in my soul. Yeah. Number one, with a familial background of it. I have many people in my family that have been educators. My grandfather, uncle, I have a cousin in social work that's in schools, my mother, and my mom being one of my biggest advisors, everything, right? Following her through her career as a classroom teacher, into public education at Santa Fe, traveling the state, and just hearing all the different things that our state has to offer has always been great. And being able to hear that and connect it with what I'm doing now, just kind of bringing that forward. And then really just all the years being in education, and learning from so many different people, from my peers to collaborations I've done as a classroom teacher from community members and family members of students who I've had. So I think I draw from different components to where I wanted to go in learning more about the system of school, all the way from an idea of how to make education better for our students and for our teachers and stakeholders, up into doing the work.
Yeah. So a lot of points, it's like you have the ability to sort of see from above the spectrum of the work from early childhood through adult education. I mean, truly, you've had either experiential knowledge or some form of educational knowledge in your training.
Yeah, starting back in college, I worked at a local preschool. I won't say which because I tried to rewrite their curriculum and they didn't like it. Because I was looking at, how is this going to be better for my classroom? But because it was a structured program, they didn't like the deviation, which is important to do for our schools and for our students. For a while, I kind of bucked it and didn't think education was the way I wanted to go. Language is another important aspect of things that I enjoy.
Yeah.
Studying Russian and Spanish from high school and college, thinking that, well, maybe I want to be an interpreter at the UN. And then came back to, I think I do want to be a teacher. I'm pretty good at this and I really love it. But then still bringing in the languages and our second language learners into the picture. When I graduated, being a bilingual and TESOL endorsed teacher. And so understanding that, which is great because I've even brought it into current time with Bfit 505, where people who are second language learners feel comfortable because we have an environment where they know that they can be successful and supported.
That's good. Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about it while we're on topic of what's going on at Bfit 505.
Yeah, in 2021, we opened a business in the pandemic. It was great.
Yes, you did.
It was the time, though. Back when I started running 505, that was kind of one of the biggest goals is to, yes, we have streamlined program with running 505 to support our adolescents and their families. I always wanted to do more, though, expand it into the community. So there was always a goal of opening up a community wellness gym, whatever you want to call it. And the opportunity came up in 2021 to purchase equipment from a gym that was closing, and we went through with it and started it. And really, my philosophy there is long-term wellness for everybody, providing a space where no matter your age, no matter your ability, maybe there's adaptations that we have to do, making that successful for them, which in turn, in my mind, becomes something that's important for our community, because the more people are healthy and well, it benefits themselves, it benefits the society economically. It just is all going back to that interconnectedness.
Yeah, and building a community that is wellness mind-centered. That's my language for it. And my familiarity with Bfit or Bfit 505 is that, just like you're saying, you have the youth access. Second language learners, you have silver sneakers, you have veterans connections, and then you also have a recovery kind of partner. Talk a little bit more about maybe that recovery partner and how you saw that working out.
Right, yeah, through Bfit 505, and we are a CrossFit affiliate through Burka CrossFit. Just the community that we've built with the connections, like you said, those different topic areas. One of them, 2022, Coach Matthew walked into our original location and asked if I'd be interested in doing a sober living active lifestyle program that he has utilized and is a great supporter of from Colorado. He's great. He's currently a law student and still wants to do that work, right? And so I absolutely jumped on board and said, yeah, let's provide a space where they work out. There's no stigma. They're working on it, and we're providing a healthy environment. So the work that the Phoenix is doing is great. We have wellness components that are yoga, that are cardio boxing and CrossFit. And it's just, you can tell the difference when people walk in wondering, is this truly a place where I can not be judged, but still work on myself? And from where they've been there for a few days or a few years now and being more comfortable.
That's a really good sign of the environment overall that you've been trying to create. And so that he knew he could come in and approach you about it and build it together.
Yeah.
And also it's a sign that the growth in your population of people who have been coming to the gym, right? You have more members, you have, like you said, a wide array of members. It's good stuff. So how are you intertwining your life and your work hours, daylight, with Running 505? Because I know that you mentioned you started a new program even under that. Let's give us the framework of Running 505.
Yeah, Running 505 started in 2014, and it was my dissertation research project. And it goes back to the years that I had been a classroom teacher, where I always knew if my kids were happy, if they were healthy, if they were active, they did so much more for me academically compared to other classrooms that were nearby me. And so I always ingrained it in my curriculum, no matter what I did, right? We still did the curriculum of reading, writing, math, all that stuff. But within that was wellness. And my kids have always done great in all of my classroom years. And so as we've gone through the years in education and public education, there was a minimizing of that activity side, but I kept it going. And I could see the struggles and frustrations that teachers had, that students had, that parents had, that our policymakers had with our outcomes.
Right.
And I wanted to kind of look at if we integrated in an after-school style, which I would love to have during school too, in everything, would there be great outcomes? And for me, it was really focusing on our girls in middle school, because middle school is hard. It's rough for many, I'll say. And with that, it just kind of took off. So I focused just on girls. I finished my dissertation. It became a research-based program. More of the community reached out and said, hey, what about the boys? And so for a while we had running girls and we had running guys. And then we merged it, into Running 505. And so since then, we've grown. Like most people through the pandemic, we shrank and now we're rebuilding. Yeah. And right now, I won't say more than ever it's important, because it's always been important, not only for our kids, but the mentors who volunteer their time, because we need to look at the wellness of our adults as well.
Yeah.
Which honestly, for a while, I was very fortunate to be the wellness coordinator for the school district.
Right.
For the adults. And one of the main reasons why I did that was really to look at how APS is as a system, from our bus drivers to our cafeteria workers to our maintenance operators to our teachers to our principals to our superintendent. What does wellness look like? How is it supported, and how is it beneficial, or how does it hinder outcomes, right? Because in schools, academic success is what's usually always measured.
Yeah.
In some instances, it's the wellness side too. And so being able to kind of get my lens on the bigger picture was really important to me in that wellness position.
Was there anything in particular that you took from that experience?
It's needed and it's wanted. Finding a focus for it is still very hard. It's really hard for people to see if we ground everything in wellness, everything else will come so much better. Rather than, wow, kids are struggling, we should probably now look at why and how to support them. It's a very reactive situation, like most public entities, rather than preventive. I think schools that are geared that way, where you do look at the whole person, they have more success. And usually we find them in smaller schools, charters, privates. So I'm hoping, that we'll be able to move forward and keep that focus.
Yeah. Well, and that's, if anything, having that large scale experience, it's just informing your other work, and it's meant to, you'll take those ideas. Maybe we should drill back just for a moment. When you say wellness, what do you mean?
Yeah, wellness is the big picture, right? I like to use wellness as the physical side, nutritional, social, emotional, relational, right? Wellness in a whole encompasses everything. A lot of times we look at physical fitness, right? And that's it. but it's not, right? You can be as fit as you want, but there's other stuff that may be not going so well. So when we look at supporting ourselves and our youth and our community, my mindset is grounded in wellness so that we look at all components.
Yeah, they're all sort of puzzle pieces, maybe.
Right.
So let's tell the transition about how all these experiences, but I would also say that I get a sense that the Aspen Collective for you is something that maybe fills a gap in your interests and your skills. Because you can talk about wellness, you can work with youth, you can work in the education system, but the collective gives you the opportunity to work more closely with professionals that want to grow, and that gives you, these are my words, my perception is that you really want to give more of your skills, and that is one of those areas where you can. So let's talk about what you're trying to accomplish there.
Yes. So one of my 2 last full-time education positions, I guess we could say. One of them was a professor at New Mexico Highlands University. I loved it.
Right.
I still love it. I love teaching adults, especially our pre-service teachers. And then after that, I was an administrator overseeing special ed preschool and APS. And then I decided I just needed a break. And in 2025, I left that position. And in around July also, I started Aspen. And it's like you said, right? I have these different components, and I can bring those all together under Aspen. And so within Aspen, I have education seminars, trainings for teachers and school districts. Love it, right? We can have these different components where I'm still talking about wellness, still talking about second language acquisition, right? Because teaching and learning is so diverse. It's huge. Even in the gym, right? I'm still teaching. People are still learning. It's the same kind of component that when Aspen comes around and I have seminars, well, I'm also doing retreats, right? Because we have some international retreats that we're working on where you're looking at yourself, your personal growth, and how does that connect to life and job and relationships you have also. So, it kind of brings everything together kind of neatly as it's going to get maybe for now. But there's different components to Aspen. And what's nice is I still can bring in people who I've worked with in the past as collaborators, because through the years with these different streams of interests, I guess you could say, the collaboration and connections I've made, I've learned so much from, and also makes me think, yes, that's connected. Oh, that's connected. And so having them come in really helps kind of broaden and deepen the work that I like doing.
Well, and I love that because it also recognizes, or you recognize, that there's so many other people that have contributions and energy around what you are aligned with, and that you give them a platform too.
Oh, for sure. Right. I don't think anyone knows everything. Right. And I definitely believe that. Even at the university, right, where there's a lot of knowledge in a skill, there's still so much that people bring in with their lived histories and the things that they bring to the table.
Well, I think that's one of your most distinct skills, is looking for the opportunities to share other people and their knowledge base. And so you're always looking for collaborative opportunities for your gym or your business or whatever it may be, or even for others. I can feel that you make connections for other people just for the sake of seeing it. And so in that vein, you and I have interacted and connected over the last couple of years over a number of different ways. I don't know how to explain it, but So we first met in and among a local women's running group, and I don't even remember the first day, but I know that you were always around, and I really loved your energy. And then had the where were we? Las Cruces at an AmeriCorps conference. I think you were giving a presentation around that.
Right.
National Service Conference.
Right. Yeah. I was doing a wellness component for AmeriCorps.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful to just run into you. And then so from there, it sort of made sense that we would see each other at other places because we work into similar circles. And having you come on to the Volunteers Advisory Board is a nice sort of, I don't know, cherry on the top for me, so that I can not only learn more about what you're doing, but enjoy you building those partnerships with the other people that are on the board and finding ways to work together. That's been pretty cool. Well, and our special events that might be coming up that you've played a role in planning. I love that. Thank you. Are you looking forward to anything in particular around the Volunteers Board, or just participating in that?
Well, just the relationships, again, that we've made. And anytime we can bring volunteers to the forefront is huge for me. You know, as private and public organizations, we can't do everything. And how awesome to be able to have individuals in our community who want to do more and who want to support the work that we do to make Albuquerque better, grow in different ways. Because again, you know, even our volunteers bring amazing things to the table. For us at Running 505, it's my mentors. You know, most of them are teachers, not all of them. Some of them are labs people. Some of them are students at UNM, and just their knowledge that they can bring to support the kids by mentoring and giving them support it's a pretty cool thing to see everything together. And same thing with the board.
And you've had a number of those mentors with you for years, right?
Yeah, I've had some that have been there. I mean, we're about celebrating our 10th year, really 11th, but we couldn't do much in the pandemic years, which was really hard. But I would try to bring our mentors together to keep that momentum going. But a lot of them, you know, they're more than a few years in, and they see the benefits for themselves as participants in volunteering and supporting others. And they see the results of the students.
Well, I mean, there's the tangible result when you guys do your end of season 5K, right? And then there's across the curriculum when they get to build those relationships with those and see maybe students are able to come back more than 1 year, right? They can do it as long as they want.
5th through 8th grade. And then if they get older, they can come back as junior mentors. What's great is one of my mentors now is a high school teacher, and she's bringing students to the middle school and high school running there, and then they can develop their mentorship skills and interpersonal skills and community building, right? That we need our high school students to develop with that empathy.
Right. So which schools is Running 505 at?
Del Norte, which is that school that she's bringing some kids. Hodgen, Mission, McKinley, Albuquerque School of Excellence, Taft, and now I opened one this week at Bfit 505. So once a week on Thursdays. What's interesting about the gym one is it's 5-year-olds to 10-year-olds. The other ones are 10 to 13. And the goal is to kind of let's get the younger ones going at the gym. All the kids who are in Running 505 can participate at that one. So we have some leeway because I want them to have additional opportunity.
And if you wanted people to start participating more, you know, are there costs associated for these junior high kids, high school students?
None. It's great. Yeah, a lot of our funding.
That's great.
That's one of my big things, right? We want things to be accessible for everybody. No cost for kids to participate, which is why our fundraising is so important.
Right.
And our donations are so important. Running 505 is small, and we are purposely doing that so that we remain tight.
Yeah.
Which can be hard for us when we go up against the big nonprofits for funding, because many of the donors like to see, well, we want our money to be spread wide. And so we're automatically pushed out. So our donations are important and our fundraiser is important.
And I imagine you get donations all year round from different entities.
Yep.
So let's talk about your gala.
Yeah, April 12th, 6 to 10-ish p.m. We have our annual gala the second weekend of April every year. Every year's a different theme. It's not a run. It's not just for runners, right? This is our fundraiser. What's fabulous is where can you go to a gala event and wear tennis shoes and fit in.
Even in New Mexico, almost nowhere.
Right. Exactly. And no one shuns you. And they actually look for what running shoes you're wearing. It's great.
Yeah, it's a good conversation starter.
Yeah, this year we're excited because we're partnering with some great donors. We have Nusenda as our sponsors, New Mexico Bank and Trust, Wealth Management Group, F3, which is wonderful because we met them through the gym. They're a great group that supports men and wellness. And as well as our location is Rio Bravo Brewery, which is fabulous. They've sponsored the whole location for us to use.
Wonderful.
And Birthday Jazz Bandits are going to be our entertainment, where we're going to have some 1920s dancers. So our theme is Speakeasy. It's going to be amazing. It definitely is our biggest fundraiser of the year, so it's important for not only to get the word out about running 505, but to have people come and have a great time.
Yeah.
All in support of our program and maintaining it for more years.
You're pretty great at throwing a party. I've
Thank
been
you.
to more than one, and I will tell you that I was telling somebody yesterday, one of my favorite things is that I was able to show up in a skirt and my running shoes, and I felt so comfortable and could just enjoy everything else.
Exactly.
Yeah. So again, that's April 12th.
April 12th.
Saturday at Rio Bravo.
Mm-hmm.
And if they go to your website, they can find a link.
They can either through Bfit 505 has a link, or Running 505
socials.
has a link. Socials are at Running 505, at Bfit 505.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Go for a good time.
It's going to be amazing.
It's going to be amazing. So let's do a little bit more of a deep dive before we have to walk it back and wrap up. Because I want to make sure that you are getting the message out about, the things that matter to you most.
Mm-hmm.
And so my question is, if you can think about a day in your life. I mean, I know that your first CrossFit class starts at 5 a.m. And I don't know if you're coaching that, but I know that you know what's going on at 5 a.m. at your gym all the way through the evening. And I realize right now it's different than it was even 5 or 10 years ago, because you were a single mom. And since then, your son has grown and graduated and moved, and things have evolved for you. And I wonder, while you're working on the scope, I have several questions in mind. Sorry, I'm narrowing it down.
Okay.
While you're working on the scope of these things, the existing things, your big ideas that you have several in progress. Gosh, you even have a publication in progress we haven't covered. Is there something that brings you back to grounded? Like, I know that you said you like to work in fast-paced situations, but is there something that slows you down that brings you more to center?
My brain is always working with ideas and figuring out how to connect it all together. I think that's what helps me get through it all, because I do connect things so much and I can see where they align in different ways.
Right.
Even with, I'm doing some policy work at the legislature. How is what I'm reading going to benefit? Right? That's also part of it. For me, obviously movement is important, and the forest is important to me.
Forest bathing, hiking?
Yes. Every time. My family knows if they can get me into Pecos National Forest, right? And just walk in the trees, I am grounded. My brain turns off. I can find myself again, find my focus. Be reminded that family, friends, community come first. And that's where the focus needs to stay. So definitely getting into nature. It's important. Luckily, we're in, again, an amazing city where in 10 minutes I can walk east and be in a completely quiet place.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've heard that a couple of times from different people, and it's funny. We can still have some peace and quiet, even if it's so close.
Mm-hmm.
And last weekend I ran into you on one of those trailheads, and it wasn't just you, and you weren't just going for the peace. You were going for a purpose, because you were practicing with your ruck for this event coming in. Gosh, is it May?
March.
It's
in a couple weeks.
This month.
Yes.
What are you doing with your team for that practice?
Yeah, one of the things that we do is we do partner with veterans organizations. My husband is Air Force veteran. My dad's Marine.
Right.
I have a Coast Guard in our family. Lots of them. So wellness for our active military and veterans is important. One of the things that we do is we're also GORUCK leaders. And we do train every year to do the Bataan Memorial Death March in White Sands Missile Range. And so, we're doing the half this year, not the full distance, but we're out there walking. This is the collaboration that I come across with F3, with Team Bravo, Paws and Stripes.
Right.
We meet all these people and the things that they're doing for the community, and we think, how can we partner, right?
Yeah.
But in a couple weeks we have Bataan, and this is the 5th time I've done it. It's great. My mother, 78, she's doing it.
Yeah.
So, it's something that, again, goes back to community wellness at all ages. It's important for everybody.
Yeah. It's an important activity too.
And we get to run into each other in the middle of nowhere.
In the middle of nowhere.
It's great.
Yeah. So yeah, is there anything else you want to leave us with today? I mean, I for sure will be sure to encourage people to sign up for the ball. I want people to check out your gym. As there was a couple other things in mind, but I'll let you have the floor.
You know, the most important thing for me is our community and finding the good through the stuff that we're needing to work on, because that's a reality also, right? I don't have my rose-colored glasses on all the time.
Yeah.
But if we can find the things that are working well and find the people who are doing things well and figuring out how we can not work in silos but more together, we can go so much further. Going back to the forest, you know, one of the things that I'm working on that you kind of brought up is a book, right? Mm-hmm. It's a children's book. Many people don't even know about the Sandia medallion trees. And if you don't know, you'll know soon. Okay. But I'm working on that. You know, it's something also that helps remind us that we have some really neat stuff going on here.
I agree. And you're a big part of that. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah. So I want people to head over to your website and check out all the things. There's a link to everything, I think, at running505.com. Mm-hmm. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Gosh, and we'll put in some links in the socials as well, so people can see what's what. And just thank you for your energy, hun. I mean, I'm really inspired by the way you move in the world and that you're relationship-oriented and community-based. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I've enjoyed our little journey together, too.
Yeah, more to come.
Yep.
Okay, thanks, everybody. And thank you so much. If you're here and you've been here before, we hope you come back again for another ABQ Accent.